Do the Giants have the most underrated lineup in all of baseball? Let's talk about it right here on Locked On Giants.
You are Locked On Giants, your daily San Francisco Giants podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, y'all? I'm Alan Stiles. Welcome to Locked On Giants, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Now, thanks to you, the #1 sports podcast network. On the show, we provide daily episodes Monday through Friday, talking about the San Francisco Giants in a way that combines passion, analytics with the eye test, and a little bit of fun. I'm from the Bay, but I live in Sacramento now, and I host a show on Sacktown Sports 1140, as well as emceeing Sacramento Rivercast games. All in all, I'm lucky enough to cover a team I've been a fan of all my life. Today, we are discussing whether or not the Giants could have the most underrated lineup in all of baseball. We're also discussing a great day against Team USA. The score wasn't great and the game wasn't necessarily great, but some great things coming out with Bryce Eldridge and some of the other young players getting to talk to some of the best players in the game. And last but not least, Trevor McDonald. Could he be one of the young arms we've been waiting to see come to the top and raise up to the level of competition that the Giants are going to need heading into the 2026 season? Today's episode is brought to you by MLB The Show. Visit MLBTheShow.com/locked-on and use code LOCKEDON to unlock a pack for use in Diamond Dynasty. Pre-order now, available March 17th on PlayStation 5, Xbox, and Nintendo Switch. Rated E for everyone. All right, so I told you yesterday we were going to talk about the Giants lineup, and I've kind of skirted around who the Giants lineup is and who they could be, but I'm ready to say it right now. The Giants have the most underrated lineup in all of baseball. That's how I feel about it. And I came to this conclusion because of an article that I saw, and it's really a ranking that I saw from Bradford Doolittle on ESPN. They have the 2026 MLB lineup rankings, okay? Which teams have the best bats? Now, they have the Giants ranked at 17. All right. And they give grades for all of these different areas of hitting: hit, patience, power, base running, durability, depth versus right-handed pitchers versus left-handed pitchers, how many stars they have, and how many holes they have, okay? So he has the lineup as Luis Arias leading off, Rafi Devers at 2, Willie Adames at 3, Matt Chapman at 4, Jung-Hoo Lee at 5, Elliot Ramos at 6, Harrison Bader at 7, Bryce Eldridge at 8, and Patrick Bailey at 9. And he goes on to write, apparently the Giants are too slow to get injured, so expect to see a lot of the same players standing around day after day playing station-to-station offense for a team with middling power. The depth of the lineup, illustrated here by the star count, looks like a plus. Well, Bradford, I think that's ridiculous. Now, let's go through the grades that he gave them. For hit, he gave the Giants a C. For patience, he gave the Giants a C-. Power, he gave the Giants a C-. Base running, he gave the Giants an F. Durability, he gave the Giants an A+. Depth, he gave the Giants a D+. Versus right-handers, he gave them a C-. Versus left-handers, he gave them a D+. He said they have 5 stars on the roster. You can maybe guess who those stars are. And 1 hole in the lineup. I'm assuming that's Patrick Bailey. I'm not sure. So I can't really argue all of this, but I can argue the power conversation as a C-. I understand that the Giants do play at Oracle Park, but they don't always play at Oracle Park. And again, you're getting a full season of Rafi Devers. Willie Adames just put up 30 home runs. That's nothing to sneeze at even these days. You have Elliot Ramos putting up 20 plus home runs in 2 years, running 2 years in a row. So I think the power conversation at C-, a little bit ridiculous. Base running an F. All right, Bradford, I can't really argue that one. And durability, A+, clearly nothing to argue there. And versus right-handers and left-handers, it just seems a bit harsh. And I know he's got them at 17, so it could be worse, but it just seems a bit harsh. And I don't think he's taken into consideration what Willie Adames did last season, the fact that they did add Luis Arias, so their hit grade should be higher than a C at this point, even if they're going station to station, which I don't think they will as much. I do think they'll steal more bags. There's an X factor that I understand that Bradford can't necessarily throw in there, but that X factor is clearly Bryce Eldridge, right? We don't know what Bryce Eldridge is going to do, but he could be a rookie of the year. He could turn this whole thing upside down if he shows up in a big way. But I do think that he's sleeping on Jung-Hoo Lee and what Jung-Hoo Lee is going to be able to do in his second full season. I do think he's sleeping on, like I said, Elliot Ramos just as a hitter in general. I already mentioned the top three: Luis Arias, Rafi Devers, and Willie Adames. As far as Matt Chapman is concerned, I don't know what to do with Matt Chapman, so I can't really argue and go to bat for Matt Chapman, no pun intended. Patrick Bailey being the whole, we'll see. I understand why he doesn't why he doesn't have Patrick Bailey as a guy that's going to help the lineup per se. And Harrison Bader, I think that's just another X factor. Everyone's just assuming he's not going to do what he did in Philly. We don't know that, right? The last time Harrison Bader hit a baseball and was in a lineup, he was really good. So we're just assuming that he's not going to do that because he's normally not that good. But we don't know that for a fact. So to me, the grades are actually maybe harsher than the actual ranking that he has for the Giants. And I think that the Giants are going to sneak up on a lot of people if this is how they feel about the Giants lineup. Some of the lineups that he has in front of the Giants, the Texas Rangers, I can't really argue them being at 16 because I think they had a really down season. So I expected the Rangers to be better. So I don't really mind them at 16. The Milwaukee Brewers coming off a great season. I understand it. He gave them an F as far as their power is concerned. I think you could maybe argue it. Right. I think you could argue the Giants, but you're going to give them their respect because they're coming off however many wins and they went to the playoffs. But I think the Giants could easily have a better lineup than the Milwaukee Brewers. The Royals, I think they could have a better lineup than the Royals. I think the Royals have some young pieces everyone's excited about. Obviously, Bobby Witt Jr. and some of these other guys that they've mixed in here. But I think the Giants could get the Royals. The Astros, maybe not. Astros, another team with a down season, so I'll give them their respect. Trash cans or no trash cans. The Baltimore Orioles, they add Pete Alonso, another team that was flying up the ranks and then just came to a screeching halt. So again, this is a lot about ceiling and some of the young guys they have, like Jackson Holliday and Gunnar Henderson. So that one's maybe harder to argue. I really like the Diamondbacks lineup. Look, with Perdomo, Ketel Marte, Corbin Carroll, and they add Nolan Arenado, you're not going to see a ton of arguments from me there. Even some of their guys at the bottom, like Lourdes Gurriel Jr., they got Carlos Santana as well. I won't argue the Diamondbacks. I can't argue the Padres either because of obviously everything they bring to the table. The Phillies to me is interesting. They look really good on paper, but they're kind of boom or bust, and they only have a C- in their power grade. So the Phillies to me are better on paper than in reality. Adolis Garcia, I mean, the Rangers just told him to go away. So I don't know what to do with the Phillies picking up Adolis Garcia and the bottom of their lineup. The Yankees are the Yankees. They play in a little league ballpark. The Cubs at 7, I don't know. Y'all can tell me if I'm tripping, but they got Nico Horner, they got Dansby Swanson, they add Alex Bregman, which we get all that, and Pete Crow Armstrong. So I'm not saying the Giants could have a better lineup than them. I just think them at 7 seems a little high. The A's at 6, I don't really have an argument with. I get to watch them out here in Sacramento, and they're ballers. I do think their ballpark is conducive to hitting, but they're ballers. At 5, you have the Toronto Blue Jays. I won't argue the Toronto Blue Jays because of what they just did. I'm not necessarily sure that everyone's going to be able to duplicate what they did last season. They got George Springer leading off. What's he, 36, 37 now? So I don't know that they're going to be top 5, the Blue Jays. I don't know that for sure. At 4, I would say the same thing about this team, the Mariners. I know they got Brendan Donovan and Julio Rodriguez. Cal Raleigh just had a crazy season. Is he going to do that again? I have no clue, right? They decide to keep Josh Naylor. They give him a new contract, and we know what Randy Arozarena can do. I don't know that they're a top 4 lineup, but again, I'm not still arguing that the Giants are going to be better than some of these teams. I do think some of these teams are maybe getting more of the benefit of the doubt that the Giants are not getting. And part of that is because they're coming off of good seasons. Now, the Mets, they are the prototypical best team on paper. And then they add Marcus Semien and Bo Bichette. So I can't argue that. All I can say is that for some reason, it feels like the Mets are going to Met. I don't know how, but it feels like the Mets are going to Met. The Braves at 2 is kind of crazy. I'm going to be honest with you. Ronald Acuna Jr. leading off. We know he tends to deal with injuries. You got Matt Olson at 3. Well, he has Jurickson Profar. He's not playing. Austin Riley at 5. Ozzie Albies at 6. This one is kind of crazy. Mike Yastrzemski at 8. Ha-Sung Kim at 9. Michael Harris at 7. I don't know how this one is number 2. I'm going to be honest with you. That one is probably the most egregious to me. And of course, the Dodgers at number 1, whatever. We're not going to argue about the Smurfs. So to me, the Giants could easily be top 10, right? You go through some of the teams that I just read through, and the Giants are set at 17 right now. A lot of these teams, outside of the teams that added big names like the Polar Bear in Baltimore and some of these other teams that we talked about, the Mets, of course, who had 2 new big bats. But a lot of these teams are exactly who they were last season. Right. So to me, the Giants have full additions. I know I've pushed back on the idea that Rafi Devers should count as an addition over the offseason, but they are going to have him for a longer period of time to kick off the season, which they did not have last season. So that is a reality. Now, there are some X factors involved with Bryce Eldridge, but you get Luis Ariz, who's just going to get you on base more, and guys like Jung-Hoo Lee, who he's shown some flashes of what he can do with the bat. And I just don't think they're respecting Elliot Ramos enough. I don't. So I don't know about the best in baseball, but I definitely think that the Giants have the most underrated lineup in baseball, and they should for sure be sniffing the top 10, definitely closer to 10 than 20, just based on who they have. And by the way, we're about to talk about the great day that the Giants had as an organization. Bryce Eldridge almost took Paul Skeens deep. I know we're tired of saying almost with Bryce Eldridge, but he's showing a lot of flashes. And if he can put just some of it together, that's something that these projections, whatever Bradford or whoever are using, they don't have that, right? They think they do, but they truly don't know. Rookies are these X factors. Nick Kurtz last season. We don't know what Nick Kurtz is going to do this season, but it's all based on what he did last season. So when he came in as a rookie and did what he did and won Rookie of the Year, that blew up all of the different projections. I'm not saying that Bryce Eldridge is going to do that, but if he does something similar to it, it could blow everything up. So put some respect on the Giants' name. But you know what? The Giants got to earn that respect. They have to. And until they do, they're going to sit right there, right where their payroll kind of is. And that 15 to 17 to sometimes 12. I know their payroll is around closer to 10 than 20 for sure, but it's all in that 10 to 20 range. That's where the Giants have lived for far too long. So hopefully they can power through and crack that top 10 from the lineup aspect of it in 2026. Let's talk about that great day that the Giants had against Team USA. The scorecard wasn't great. Okay, and the end of the game wasn't great, but a lot of great things to take away for some of the young players and just a celebration of the Giants and, of course, Team USA. More Locked On Giants coming up. College basketball is nonstop. Big games, tight spreads, momentum swings every single night. From early tip-offs to late-night West Coast shootouts, there's always action on the board. And now, FanDuel is giving you a way to turn that energy into even bigger potential wins with the College Basketball Parlay Profit Boost. You can build any college hoops parlay you want. Rivalry games, ranked matchups, whatever fits my read. You can mix spreads, totals, and player props to match how you see the slate playing out. Then you can apply the Profit Boost and instantly bump up the potential payout. Go safe, go bold, ride with the team you've been following all season. It's your parlay, your style, now with more upside behind it. Head to FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com. FanDuel, play your game. Workplace chaos Deadline stacking up, inbox overflowing, and the one position you have to fill is still sitting open. When the pressure's on and you need the right hire, this is a job for Indeed Sponsored Jobs. Indeed Sponsored Jobs helps you reach the people who actually fit what you're looking for. Skills, experience, location, so you're not just hoping the right candidate stumbles across your post. And here's a stat that says it all. In the minute I've been talking to you, companies like yours made 27 hires on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. So if you're hiring, spend less time searching and more time interviewing candidates who check all your boxes with Indeed Sponsored Jobs. Spend less time searching and more time actually interviewing candidates who check all your boxes. Less stress, less time, more results. When you need the right person to cut through the chaos, this is a job for Indeed Sponsored Jobs. And listeners of this show will get $75 sponsored job credit to help get your job the premium status it deserves at Indeed.com/podcast. Just go to Indeed.com/podcast right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? This is a job for Indeed Sponsored Jobs. So by now, you've been watching me, you've been listening to me on Locked On Giants. You know it's very hard for me to do the moral victory thing, and that's what I'm essentially being forced to do because yesterday it was a great day for the Giants as a whole, even if the score didn't reflect it. But you look at the beat writers on their social media and everyone saying, what a beautiful day for the Giants. And then you check and you see what actually happened in the game, and it doesn't feel as beautiful to me. But again, it was not about the game. It was about everything else that came from the game. Just so you know, the Giants did lose to Team USA 15-1. Now, that is Team USA, but again, I guess this is a positive. Some of those runs and hits, they came from the Giants, who Team USA wanted to borrow some of the Giants players. They did get to wear jerseys. You can check that out on social media. It's pretty cool. Bo Davidson and others, they did get to wear jerseys, and they balled out for Team USA. They did. And I guess the idea of it being a fun day or a good day for the organization, I have to look past the fact that the Giants got smacked because they were always going to get smacked. The idea of them not getting smacked was a bit ridiculous on my end. You're throwing out Adrian Hauser, and he's basically facing an all-star team, and they immediately gave up runs. It is what it is. But beyond all that, everyone was really happy because Bryce Eldridge, who is a guy that the Giants obviously are hoping to hand the keys over to and to be a guy that's really going to push this thing in the right direction for the group. Bryce Eldridge had a great day, okay? He had an outstanding play at first base where he looked really comfortable over there. He dove to his right and he got back to the bag. Then the next inning, he almost took Paul Skeens deep. He nearly knocked over Byron Buxton with a nice line drive that he had. Great exit velo on it, even though it ended up just being a line out, fly out to the center fielder. But it wasn't necessarily about what Bryce Eldridge did while playing. It was about some of the guys that he got to talk to while the game was going on. He spent some time talking to Aaron Judge. They joked about who was taller than who when Aaron Judge was at first base. And apparently Aaron Judge said, we hope to see you on this team in a couple years. So, you know, a lot of people went wild with that. Obviously, Bryce Eldridge is a name that everybody is talking about. He's pretty well known throughout Major League Baseball at this point in time. And, you know, this was an opportunity for people to see Bryce Eldridge that don't normally get to see Bryce Eldridge. But, you know, the word on the street is that this dude is the next coming. And everybody is very fascinated in what he's going to do this season. There's a level of pressure that comes with that. But at some point, one of these future stars or potential stars, they're going to have to step up to the pressure. That's just what it is. Aaron Judge did, Mike Trout did, all of these top prospects did. Or you're just not a star. You know, and I hate to sound so, I guess, blunt about it, but that's just what it is. You become a top prospect. People talk about you. At some point, you got to face the music and you got to face the pressure. And I think situations like this with Aaron Judge saying those things to Bryce Eldridge, that helps, in my opinion, because you got to face this thing head on. You know, you can't be afraid of it. You can't run from it. All of these guys in these organizations, they know that the weight of the organization's shoulders is on them. And for Bryce, he does find himself in a bit of a better situation because it's just about him producing. The Giants don't necessarily need him to produce this season. It would be really nice, and it would be that X factor, but they have big money players. Some of these guys that are on the Pirates, that are on other teams that don't have these big names, like when Bobby Witt Jr. was coming up, they don't have these other protections around them that are getting paid big money. So they get thrown into the fire even faster. So to me, this was a great experience for Bryce Eldridge to just look at your future in the face and don't run from it. Don't hide from it. Don't be sheepish about it. Take the bull by the horns. I think he did a great job of that yesterday, and it's a good start for him. Some of the other guys, Bo Davidson got a hit for Team USA. Gavin Keelan got a hit for Team USA. Obviously, these guys are a step maybe behind Bryce Eldridge, but they are next up. So in that capacity, I thought that the Giants had a really good showing to just show the rest of the baseball world what they're bringing to the table. Now, as far as the pitching is concerned, I'm not really sure what to do with that because, again, you're facing the best hitters in the universe. Blade Tidwell gave up 2 bombs. That's not great. Adrian Hauser gave up a couple runs. That's not great. I think he gave up a home run too. That's not great. But you're not going to face a lineup like this every single day. Now, it would be nice for them to get out of it, right, and to maybe not give up home runs, but I'm not going to sit here and give any type of breakdown about Adrian Hauser or Blade Tidwell based on what happened against Team USA. And I know towards the end, you weren't facing Team USA. You were facing other guys on the Giants, but even so, it's not a typical situation. So I'm not taking anything away from what guys did, either hitting or pitching, but it is tough to see 15-1. I mean, that's not fun, but it's Team USA. I guess our only takeaway, or my only takeaway, is that Team USA looks really good. And that's a good thing because the Dominican, they were partying down there and doing their thing. They crushed the Tigers. It was close for a bit, but they ended up crushing the Tigers. So this is about the World Baseball Classic. This is not about the Giants and them getting smacked by Team USA. Okay, so that's my main takeaway from it. One more segment with you. Trevor McDonald, another guy that is looking to help the Giants out as far as the pitching is concerned. He's starting out hot. Is he the young arm that the Giants need to show up in a big way heading into the 2026 season? More Locked On Giants coming up. Thank you for making Locked On Giants your first listen of the day, and thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. You already live your team every day. Now take it up a level and go ad-free. Join the Everydayer Club today and get Locked On Giants with no interruptions, members-only Discord access, and more. All for just $5 a month or $50 a year. Go to LockedOnSFGiants.supercast.com or check the link in the show notes to learn more. If you're a true diehard Giants fan, the Everydayer All-Access tier is built for you. You'll get one-on-one text access with me, all-access episodes, an exclusive newsletter, and a 15% discount to the Locked On merch store. Head to LockedOnSFGiants.supercast.com to join the Everydayer Club and unlock all access. You can also find a link in the show notes. Today, I'm thrilled to be talking about our sponsor, MLB The Show 26. The greatest game in baseball is back with its newest installment. Baseball fans are going to have a hard time pulling themselves away from the game. What I love about the game is how you can play with your specific team and all the features that come along with it, especially when you get into franchise mode. And you know me, I love my college baseball. Now you can get into that as well. If you're a gamer, a baseball fan, or just want to enjoy America's favorite pastime in a new, exciting way, you are going to love MLB The Show 26. Play as your favorite team and franchise players and see if you have what it takes to win your own World Series. Visit MLBThe.show/LockedOn and use code LOCKEDON to unlock a pack for use in Diamond Dynasty. Internet connection required. Pre-order available March 17th on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series S and X, and Nintendo Switch. Rated E for everyone. Last segment with you, and as the Giants continue to try to find that young arm that is going to raise their ceiling as far as the pitching staff is concerned, Trevor McDonald looks to be that guy. This is from Alex Pavlovich, and he says, Giants notes, Trevor McDonald looks to follow Landon Roop's path to a roster spot. Trevor McDonald's locker is 5 down from Landon Roop's in the Giants spring training clubhouse, and it would make a lot of sense if Roop's path is one McDonald hopes to follow. Roop was a starter in the minors, but was so good 2 springs ago that the staff had no choice but to put him in the opening day bullpen. After making 19 relief appearances and 4 starts that season, he won a starting job the next spring. There's not currently a starting spot available for McDonald, but like Roop 2 years ago, he looks like one of the best 13 arms in camp, and he doesn't need anybody to give him a recent history lesson. Me and him are best friends and ride to and from the field every day and talk about that stuff, McDonald said. Whether it's the bullpen, rotation, whatever, my main goal is just wherever they need me, be ready to be there and compete when I get the opportunity. McDonald has looked sharp all spring long, at least so far. He hit 97.2 and averaged 95 miles per hour with his sinker. That was on Monday. His best recorded velocity in 3 big league appearances last year was 94.9, and in the minors, it was 96.7. So everybody's just throwing cheddar right now. It's early in the season. I don't know what it is. I know they got the new strength and conditioning, but I don't know how much they've been working with them yet. So everybody's just throwing gas right now. It's in the tank. If you look back a couple years ago in the minors, that was there, McDonald said. I've just kind of been a lot more intentional in my sleep and recovery and what I've been putting in my body this offseason. I felt really good coming into camp, so I think that's just all showing on the field. McDonald said he's going to bed earlier and getting more rest. He also has experimented with the carnivore diet, which is touted by fellow right-handers Adrian Hauser and Carson Seymour. He is up about 15 pounds from spring training last year, but when it comes to the diet, he is not as strict as others. I like to eat, McDonald said, smiling. While McDonald looks like he might follow Roop's path, there is one big difference. Roop had never pitched in the big leagues before winning a bullpen spot. McDonald made a cameo in 2024 before dazzling in a couple September starts last year, including 6 strong innings at Dodger Stadium on the season's final road trip. McDonald said those late appearances gave him a confidence boost coming into this spring. It makes you hungry to get back up there and compete. So I really like what I saw from him last season. I think we all did. I think we all were really excited because he may not have been a name that we had circled, but we keep hearing about Carson Whisenhunt. We kept hearing about guys like that. And then you had Trevor McDonald kind of slide in there and start to do his thing. If the Giants could find somebody like that, that would make a world of difference. Because I'm going to be honest with you. I really don't know what to expect from Tyler Mahle. He's the guy that's really the X factor. You have Adrian Hauser, and people are treating Adrian Hauser similar to how they're treating Harrison Bader as far as his hitting. Well, he hasn't normally thrown like that. He hasn't normally hit that well, so we don't expect him to do it again, or it's hard to project that he'll do it again. But there's also a chance that he does, right? Yesterday, when he's facing Team USA, that's not the best situation, but again, you're facing Team USA. And I know Adrian Hauser hasn't looked shut down even prior to that in his appearances in the spring. But Tyler Mahle is the one, when you look at some of the injuries that he's gone through and things like that, he is the one where I'm just not sure. And if you do need a fit starter, that's where Trevor McDonald, to me, based on what I saw last season and the spring so far, I feel really good about where he's at. You know, I love my Blade Tidwell. He hasn't looked great. Again, Team USA, so we'll just kind of throw that one away. But I'm just not sure what to expect from Tyler Mahle. He might be a stud, but he's the guy more so than Adrian Hauser that I'm just not sure what to expect from him. And if you do have somebody like Trevor McDonald, that makes everything a lot easier if you are able to take pressure off of both of them, right? Maybe it's just whoever is feeling it and you go about it that way. We know how things can be with that fit starter position in the rotation. So hopefully it's Trevor McDonald. If not, hopefully Tyler Mahle just does his thing, you know, and we can just go from there. Thank you for listening to Locked On Giants. Thank you for watching Locked On Giants. Be sure to follow me on social media at _Styles Files, Styles with an I. If you never miss an episode, the Everydayer Club is built for you. Get Locked On Giants ad free, plus members only Discord access and more. Head to LockedOnSFGiants@supercast.com to join the club. For those of you on video, we send you to the first ever 24/7 National Locked On Podcast Network YouTube channel. On audio, make sure you make your second listen Locked On MLB. We will talk to you tomorrow. Until then, peace.